Hi, Brian here. Has your mouth ever got you into trouble? Really? Wow. Because I have to be honest and say that there have been times when I have said things that I really rather regret now. And sometimes it's been deliberate. Sometimes it's just something that comes out. Sometimes it's misunderstood. But you know, our words are so incredibly powerful. I went to a certain store that you can like buy things online and then go into. Well, you have to go into a supermarket and then turn left and go into a store within a supermarket to pick up the thing that you've ordered online. Only I got my daughter to order it online before me because she gets 7%. And so I'm there standing at the counter in the midst of all these COVID measures and trying not to, look out of place and do everything right. And she said, "Have you got your order number?" I said, "Well, yes, of course I got my order number." And I looked at my texts and I looked at my emails and I suddenly remember, oh, yes, of course, yes. We've got so many ways to talk and communicate with each other now. It is unbelievable. And we bought our my wife's parents one of these video calling things that a certain company that's named after a very big river might sell, so that we can share pictures with them more easily and talk with them more easily. But it's logged in on my account. So my wife and daughter and grandchildren have gone there to see them and make sure they're okay. And whilst they're there, set this thing up. And whilst they were there, they phoned me on our device here in our kitchen. And it said that, oh, Brian Dash is phoning in. I'm thinking, hang on, I'm Brian Dash and I'm here. How can I be phoning me? I thought if I was phoning me, at least I'd be aware of it. So this communication malarkey is huge, absolutely massive, and it's getting worse. Not better, worse. Now we breed dogs and we interview people who buy our dogs, but now it's like, is it Messenger? Is it WhatsApp? Is it a phone call? Is it FaceTime? Is it Teams? Is it Zoom? And each one has. Jesus said in Matthew 5:33, he said, "And don't say anything you don't mean." I mean, don't say anything you don't mean. The counsel is embedded deep in our traditions. You only make things worse when you lay down a smokescreen of pious talk saying, "I'll pray for you," and never doing it, or saying, "God be with you," and not meaning it. You don't make your words true by embellishing them with religious lace. In making your speech sound more religious, it becomes less true. Just say yes and no. And when you manipulate words to get your own way, you go wrong. Wow. I mean, it's not like we as Christians would ever, meet somebody. Oh, can you remember that? Meeting somebody in church. Hey, and if you're reading this, seeing this post-COVID, then just remember that we appreciated these things back then. And when you meet somebody and you say, "Well, hey, how are you doing?" "Oh, well, actually, I think I've got gout. And I've got serious disease, which is particularly uncomfortable and particularly violent, and it's smelly, and they start telling us all these things, and we say, "Oh, I'll pray for you," because it makes us sound spiritual, makes us sound like we care, makes us sound good. Or we might say, "Oh, God bless you," or "God be with you," or "I pray that God will sort out your lack of finance and the fact that you've got nothing to eat." Yeah. Whereas God would say, actually, if you're the solution, why don't you do less talking and more doing? So even though Jesus said these words 2,000 years ago, they are still relevant. They still hold a truth, because we say things sometimes because we have an image that we're trying to portray or live up to or whatever. Whereas in reality, God says, the only person you need to compare yourself to is my image of you. Nobody else. You don't need to compare yourself to him or her or them or that. You only need to compare yourself to who I am calling you to be. So you don't need to puff yourself up with words or make yourself look good. Just be true to who you are. As foster carers, we have had in the past some interesting characters who often say things that are blatantly untrue. And we've learned many lessons and could tell you many stories about these types of things. But it's very true that when one lie comes out, you need to take another lie to cover up the first one. And if you've got one stream of lie going one way and another stream of lie going another way, it gets very complicated and very stressful. And if you give people enough time, eventually they will get found out. And therefore, if you just tell the truth, we don't have to worry about these things. It just works, doesn't it? You're just honest, you're just open, you just need to think back, recollect the facts, and speak the truth. But guys, that doesn't give you a license to be unkind with the truth, because the truth can be used in different ways. Do you know the enemy, the Satan, uses truth? He will take a truth and he'll put a slight twist on it. And then he'll take another truth and put a slight twist on that and add it to the first one. And before long, you're all mixed up and all mangled up, and you're all deceived. And you're not quite sure where it is. And yet it starts off with just a small manipulation of truth. And of course, guys, we have got the big question. Do I look nice in this dress? No, let me rephrase that. That is not a question I would ask. But my wife might ask, do I look nice in this outfit? Guys, we know that is a catch-22 question. Because if you say yes and the answer is no, and she goes out looking like a bag of spanners, then sooner or later she's going to say, oh, I look awful in this, why didn't you tell me? And you're in trouble. If you say no, she's going to say, oh, what's wrong with it? I look fine. It's okay. And then there's the matter of the truth. Fortunately, true beauty is subjective, isn't it? And there is no one thing. And I love the fact that we're all individual, we're all unique, we're all different. We all like and appreciate different things. We all like different looks. We all like different shapes and sizes and colours and varieties and makes and models and everything like that. And I think that's just fantastic that we're all so different, which means, what I'm trying to say though is sometimes we need to use wisdom with truth. We don't just speak truth all the time. We use wisdom because there's a timing to using truth truthfully. So if this person will say, do I look nice in this? Well, yeah, actually, I think you look nice in this. I think, though, that there are some other things you look better in. It's a truth. It's being honest. It's sometimes if we're secure enough in our relationships, then we can say these things, or we're brave enough or stupid enough. But at the end of the day, though, speaking the truth can be weaponized to manipulate what we want to achieve or to bring other people down. Let me ask you a question. Does God always speak the truth to you? Well, yeah, of course he does. It's impossible for God to lie. Okay. Does God speak all the truth to you all the time? Well, actually, no. He doesn't. He holds some things back. So when Jesus knew that Peter was going to betray him, he couched his communication because he began that whole process with the end redemption in mind. So when Jesus said to Peter, look, before the cock crows 3 times tonight, you will betray me. He said that because he already had in mind that after his resurrection, he was going to reinstate and reunite himself with Peter, because he knew that Peter would be filled with remorse, he would be filled with regret, he would be bitterly disappointed with himself, and he would think that he's blown it big time. And so Jesus begins with the end in mind, and he sows the truth. He doesn't condemn Peter. He doesn't tell him off. He doesn't call him every name under the sun. But he uses truth in a positive, powerful, and redemptive way with the future in mind. So I am grateful that God doesn't tell me all the truth all the time. He measures it according to where I am and what I need to work on, what I need to know. For example, if I'm driving a tractor down a field, I need to know, whilst I might need to know what the soil conditions are right at the end of the field, I've got to get to the end of the field first. So therefore, I need to look at where I am. Is the tractor where it needs to be? Is it going the right speed? Okay, I can see there's a wet hole coming up. I've got to go through this wet hole. I can't go around it, whatever. Four-wheel drive in, is the diff locking all the wheels together so they all turn at the same time. And it gets me through that anticipated bit of a problem. But what I didn't know is that right at the end of the field, there are some serious issues. But if I'm worrying about that at the end of the field, I might get bogged down and I might not get that far. And when I get to the end of the field, okay, I can deal with that because it's a different ball game. What I'm trying to say is that sometimes God tells us the truth we need to know now, not worrying about truth that he could reveal, but he doesn't. He chooses his timing with your life. He chooses his timing with my life. And can I suggest that we need to choose our timing with other people's lives too? We cannot use truth as a weapon to pull people down. We need to use truth as a building block to encourage, to build, to enable growth, redemption, and all the positive and powerful things in their lives, because your words are really powerful. And God says that our words are one of the main things we're going to have to give an account for on Judgment Day, on how we use them and how we say things. And obviously as well, it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Oftentimes we can mean one thing and sound something else. I know we use our dogs as a measuring tool. And I might be talking to my wife and I don't mean anything in a nasty or whatever, and all of a sudden the dog gets up and starts to walk out. And Reen says, "You're shouting again." And I think, I'm not. And I look at the dog walking out and I'm thinking, I must have been. I didn't mean to, but I clearly was. Hang on. How I communicate is as important as what I communicate. And sometimes what I communicate is impinged and held back because of how I communicate. And I'm thinking one thing, but something else is coming out. So Jesus has those very powerful words. Let your yes be yes, let your no be no. Let's use truth wisely, accurately. Let's never get caught out in a lie, but let's make sure that we use truth where it needs to be applied at that moment in a way that's redemptive, that builds people up, that encourages, because I believe that's the heart of what Jesus was saying, because we see it in his example, we see it in his lifestyle, we see it in how he dealt with and treated people. So just some thoughts about the Sermon on the Mount. Thank you.